Hi there, welcome back to Building the Boys. We now have issue 85 of Hachette's Build the Titanic. Now, 85, 86, 87, 88 is all Hull. Now, I know that makes a lot of you happy that, well, we got loads of Hull coming in. That is nice, but Hull work is light work, so there's not loads to do in this, but the impact it makes is going to be massive, literally massive. We're going to get to see the window in this one as well. So there is a window in the side of the hull where you can see the engine that we spent so long working on. So when you display your model, you can either have that exposed or it will cover up. So if you think at this point, I don't want this bloody great hole in the side of my Titanic, we don't have to. There will be a cover for it. So this is going to be nice. This is going to have an impact. Now, unfortunately, as I said, it is light work. So I mean, it is pretty much 2 or 3 screws per issue, and then it's done. But the hull is going to increase significantly by the end of this one. So we will be back at the end of this one as well for our Titanic talk. And as it's October and it's Halloween month, we're going to get a little bit spooky, a little bit creepy. And we're going to take a slight detour away from the Titanic and tell you a story of a ghost ship called the Oran Madan. And we'll have a conversation about that one at the end. So without further ado, let's crack this one open and let's get this hull built. Okay, so here is 85. Let's crack this one open, see exactly what we get. So 2 different types of screws, Allen bolts. You know how I feel about Allen bolts. But it is what it is, and I what I am what I am, and it be what it be. And we have, well, that's quite a length. Okay, so as you can see, this has got sodding great window cut out of it. So at some point we will have this section to go in there. I don't know when that's turning up, but we will have it. This does cover. Trust me, it covers. So you don't have to have it fully exposed. What we're going to do, we're going to install this to the hull and screw it into place. So I'm going to bring this one over. We've got our incredibly sizable hull here. Line this one up, see where it's going, and let's get this installed. So the first thing we're going to do is there's a screw hole here and here. We're going to screw in 2 of the tiny BM screws into there. Now, I'm just going to touch these in the oil because they're not huge, but I do want to ease the transition. Why we're doing this, don't know. It's going to have something to do with the the cover, I would imagine. But I'm not for sure why we're doing this, because this isn't screwing it to anything. This is we're just putting in screws on the side. But maybe something's going to attach to it, cling to it. I don't know. But yeah, we're not screwing to anything here, we're just screwing it in. But they say to get them tight and all the way down. Done that with that one. Alright, one more. Yeah, no, a bit of a conundrum, don't know. So something's going to fit in there, but I don't know what. Possibly a magnet. Anybody that's building the Infinity Gauntlet at the moment, or definitely the Alien, will be familiar with the use of very powerful magnets in their models. So I wouldn't be surprised if the hatch that's going on here is installed with a magnet, because these little holes look like they're primed for a magnet. There we go. So there's those 2 in. Next thing we're going to do is install it to the ship itself. Okay, so this is the section we're working with here. Bigger the hole gets, harder it gets to film. Right, so let's install this one. Let's go into clip. In there like so. Nice and easy. Now we are using Allen bolts, but I do have a decent Allen bolt screwdriver. So we get that one ready and we get this screwed in. Okay, so I have touched this in the 3-in-1. I'm hoping the screwdriver is going to fit in here. It does, because that's going to save me messing around with an Allen key. Excellent. This is going to be significantly longer hull when we're done with this. Okay, that's one. One more. I'm just going to touch in the 3-in-1. Same again. God, this is so much easier than use that bloody key. nice and tight. There we go. So that one done. That is all we need to do in this stage. Now, as I said, it's low work, but it is significant. I'm going to hold it up. So we're going to go back to my ugly mug, and you'll see me holding up to see exactly how much longer this has got, but it has got bloody significantly longer. Let's have a chat. So that's that one done. And again, with hull work, I mean, we all like the hull work, but look at this bloody thing. I mean, I'm trying to get it all on camera for you. There you go. So you can see how much longer we've become. Be really careful with this. You don't want this to bend, you really don't, and it could. But my God, we are significantly increasing the hull size. Now, naturally, in the next one, what we're going to be doing is adding more to that. So we're going to have the higher piece, and then the next two pieces on the other side as well. That's what we're going to be doing. So if you are just sticking around for the build instructions, thank you for stopping by. If you haven't yet, please remember to like and subscribe. It helps our channel massively, and we really enjoy having you along for the journey. If you are sticking around for our Titanic talk, we are veering away from the Titanic. This isn't a Titanic talk, it's Halloween, so we're having a talk about another ghost ship. Not this one. Not that one, that'd be cool though. The Flying Dutchman is a myth, but the Iran Medan is up for debate. So the story of the Iran Medan is a fairly creepy one. It's a very unusual one. And what makes it particularly unusual is the time that it was reported. Now, if something like this was reported, we'd probably roll our eyes and go, yeah, right. But at the time, this wasn't something that's been influenced by horror movies. This wasn't something that's been influenced by internet, or it just wasn't. So it's unusual that this story was reported. So the Iran Medan, allegedly was a merchant ship that had set sail from a port in China, and it was heading for Costa Rica. And it had deliberately avoided the authorities. So when you start delving into this, you go, okay, well, there's no registered ship called the Iran Medan. No, because apparently what the Iran Medan was transporting was very illegal. It was a smuggling ship. But distress calls started to come in. A Dutch vessel picked up a distress call from the Iran Medan, and the distress call stated, all captains and crew dead in chart room. Please come quick. And they got that message 3 times, and then they started getting sort of gibberish dots and dashes, didn't really mean anything. And then the last message they received from the Iran Medan was, I die. Which is creepy enough. Eventually, they were managed to locate the Iran Medan, and when they found it, they radioed and nothing. There was no call back from the Iran Medan. It was just adrift, and nobody appeared to be behind the wheel. There was no response. So they mounted a boarding party and they boarded the Iran Medan. 3 Dutch sailors boarded the Iran Medan, and they all said they saw the same thing. What they said was there were bodies everywhere. So all over the deck, there were bodies. And not just bodies, they also said, bizarrely, a lot of dogs. There were a lot of dog carcasses across the deck of the Iran Medan. What makes this particularly weird is all of the corpses, all of them, were looking up toward the sky. And some were pointing, almost like frozen, like petrified. But they were grossly kind of deformed, like they like a strange level of decay had happened in what would appear to be a very short period of time, but they all looked horrified. They all had expressions of shock and they were all pointing up and looking up. It's weird, right? So the plan is to move further into the vessel, but they're like, okay, we need to get off this ship now, right? So they're like, we'll tow this back and we'll find out what's happened. So the sailors returned to their ship. The Silver Star was the one that found their ship, and they were preparing the Iran Medan for tow. So at that point, a fire breaks out on the Iran Medan at this very point, shortly followed by an explosion, which resulted in the Iran Medan rapidly sinking. So it was never recovered. So what the hell happened there? Now, when you start delving into this, you'll go, I don't think anything happened. And it sounds like it might just be a ghost story, but there's a lot of reports of it that suggest something else was going on. Now, it's easy to assume some supernatural force or an alien or something was, and that's why they're all, well, what was the Oran Medan transporting? Now, there's a theory that what the Oran Medan was transporting was because it was about 1947, so shortly after the war. There's theories on what they were moving. One of them is that they were moving nerve agent that Japan had stored in China during World War II. They were moving it. And had there have been a leak of said nerve agent on board, well then yeah, it would have killed the entire crew, wouldn't it? There's another theory they weren't just moving nerve agent, they were also moving potassium cyanide, and they were also moving nitroglycerine. So seawater mixed with nitroglycerine does cause an explosion. It will cause a fire, it will cause an explosion. And once nitroglycerine goes, it really goes. I had the nickname nitroglycerine when I was younger because I was harmless until you disturbed me. So it's, nitroglycerine's quite volatile. So it's not beyond belief that a ship that shouldn't have been out there was out there. And this is what brings us lovely to Titanic, because as we know, there is a theory that there was a fishing vessel that was in the area of Titanic that didn't respond to the distress calls because it shouldn't have been out there. Is that true? I don't know. But it's not... This happened. So not this particularly definitely happened, but it was quite common for uncharted boats, unregistered boats, or boats of name changes to be out in water doing things they shouldn't have been doing, particularly around the time of World War II, because there was a lot of profiteering that happened after World War II. There was a lot of dodgy stuff left over from the war, and there was money to be made by moving it around quietly. So did this happen? I don't know, but it's a really creepy story. It's a creepy story I'm surprised it's never turned into a film, but it's about the Oran Medan. Now, if you're thinking that sounds like orangutan, it's an Indonesian word, so Oran means literally man of. So Medan was a large coastal city, so man of Medan, that's what it is. So Oran Medan means man of Medan. Orangutan is literally translates to man of the woods, man of the forest. So that's why they sound similar. But that's where that come from. Don't say I never learnt you nothing. So that is all for this episode of Hachette's Build the Titanic. We will be back very, very soon with another part of the hull. Also another scary story of the Titanic this time. But this is I wanted to say kind of a funny, sort of light-hearted one first, because we'll get a bit dark on the next two. And then we will get very, very light. So the last one of this pack is a very light story. It's not a Halloween story at all. So the next one, we will have a fairly dark story, so prepare yourself for that one. If you haven't yet, please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you for stopping by in a world where you can be anything at all, just be nice. And I will see you very, very soon for issue 86 of Hachette's Build the Titanic. Take care and I'll see you then.